You know who I am?
Anything you say. Anything you say.
It's official.
What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, this past week, all that was going on in the news, it wasn't much, mostly about Elon Musk buying Twitter and the whole Depp versus Heard trial. But we all know that Johnny's got it in the bag. It's done. She's been busted. It's just ridiculous what all that she's done to him. But karma's a bitch and it's coming back to bite her in the ass. Problem is there's a lot of women that do this. I wish more women would be held accountable for their actions against men. But anyways, moving on. Earlier today, before I shot this video, I noticed that they're going on and on about the whole Roe versus Wade thing. You know, nothing was said about it until just now. All of a sudden, they're in an uproar over it because it's getting ready to get overturned. Too many women have been using abortion as a like birth control. It needs to stop. Killing babies is not right. I don't care. They're innocent lives. It's not a parasite. A parasite is a different species. Okay? It's some of their arguments are just plain stupid. That's a parasite. Give me a fucking break. But yeah, there's plenty of ways to prevent getting pregnant. Use them. Use one of them. Or keep your legs closed. One of the two. I mean, come on. Anyways, I saw that. They were the far leftists are going absolutely crazy over that shit, you know. But whatever. Moving on. Now, I could go all on about what is wrong with the new Star Trek and Picard, but you can go on YouTube or other video sites and you could see 90% of all the people are talking about the new Star Trek. They hate it. They can't stand it. It sucks. And I don't blame them, you know. You got a Romulan that should not be on Earth. They don't know anything about humans yet. But they had to keep her in the show because she's a love interest of Picard in the future, supposedly. Whatever. But anyway, they had to find a spot for her. And she just happens to be watching the ancestor of Picard. Sure. Whatever. You have a 20th century doctor who just automatically knows how to use Romulan tech. Rios, who automatically knows how to hack into Romulan tech, which he has no clue how to anything about Romulan tech, but all of a sudden he knows how to hack into it. You got a French police officer who was nearly killed, bloodily beaten, and then dumped off at a hospital, but no other police go and follow up on what happened to him or anything, and they never show up to Lato Picard or whatever the fuck the place is called. Just stuff like that. 7 and 9 is supposed to have a relationship with Chakotay, but now all of a sudden she's a lesbian. For some reason, whatever, the dumbest thing, she's not allowed into the Starfleet, and Raffi don't know this, even though they've been, scissoring for a while. There's no emotional attachment there in those characters whatsoever. It makes no sense that they made her lesbian. Then they give her back her Borg tech. Like, what the fuck for? Why? I don't. They just get dumb with the show. You ever seen the show Tiger King? God awful show, but is a train wreck that you just could not stop watching. You had to see how bad it got, how worse it got. Same way with this NuTrek. It is horrible, it's god awful, but it's a train wreck you just can't stop watching because you want to see how bad, how worse it gets. Let's not even mention the fact that, in Next Generation, Picard, your mother lives to a ripe old age, but in this she commits suicide. And not once in the flashbacks do they mention his older brother, Robert. Not one time. It's ridiculous. It's like they're throwing everything out the window and destroying it. The old franchise is fucking retarded. But that's what you get with woke fucking Star Trek. Whatever. Anyways, moving on. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is I just got done playing an old retro game called Gex, Enter the Gecko. Now, I like Mario style video games. I do. It kind of takes a break away from all the first person shooter games that they just keep pumping out. Like 98% of all games anymore is them damn first person shooter games. And I'm just sick of them. They get old really fast. Anyways, Enter the Gecko, Gex. This is the second one in the series. There's 3 of them. The first one was a 2D side scroller, and I'm not real big on 2D side scrollers, I know they were real big during the 80s and it was the arcade times and blah blah blah. But now that they can do 3D games, I prefer 3D games. Now this second one, it does do the 3D thing. However, normally when you're playing a game now, when you push on the little joystick, whatever controller you have, they will turn that way. With this, it wasn't like that. You couldn't use the joystick, you had to use the arrow keys. So naturally, he only goes forward, back, and to the sides. He don't turn like, you can't make him turn the way you want him to turn. So that was a little annoying. And I can tell you right now, in all these games, there's one thing that I cannot stand. Is jumping. I hate games that have a shit ton of jumping, like Mario World. I'm sure just about everybody has played Mario World. In all these games, the game developers cannot make it to where the character that you're playing with sticks their landing. They have to run 2 or 3 more steps so they'll just fall off the edge. And they do this on purpose because they know you'll have to fucking redo these certain areas over and over and over again with platforms because they don't jump properly. Same thing with this Gex game. There's certain areas in there that has a lot of jumping required, and he does not stick his landing. He wants to walk 2 or 3 more steps. which is extremely annoying. The tail bounce, it doesn't work right. It doesn't bounce him the way it's supposed to. There's certain areas that no matter how hard you try to tail bounce onto a platform, he won't get there. You have to kind of run and tail bounce to get him up there, which is a pain in the ass because you have to time it just right to get him to bounce on there just right. And sometimes he has this thing where, you know, he tries to save your ass if you miss something. He'll stick out his tongue to pull himself up over onto the edge. Every now and then that helps, but a lot of times it's annoying because it causes you to slide off the platform. It doesn't work right. I really have a problem with jumping, a lot of jumping in these games, because the developers do it on purpose to make you do it over and over and over again. And it's fucking annoying. It's like, if you're going to do it right, fix it right to where when you jump somewhere, he lands, sticks the jump. He don't move once he jumps onto an area. But anyways, regardless. The second thing I noticed is, and this is a problem with a lot of these games, the camera is not your fucking friend. It is not your fucking friend. Oh my God, that camera, my gosh. Seriously, like, you'll be trying to jump somewhere and the camera will move just as you jump, so it makes your character go a different direction. I don't know how many times the camera did that. Or why does the game developers make it to where you have a camera, but then in certain areas you can't fucking move the camera around the character? Like, I don't know how many times I heard because I couldn't move the camera. And I'm like, well, what the fuck's the point of the camera then? It's such shit. But anyways, other than that, I like the game. You know, it was a Mario style type game where you had different worlds and you had to complete different tasks to collect remotes. It was TV remotes in this one. You collect TV remotes, like 3 or 4 of them in each world. Some of them they only have one, depending on how hard the world was. You had one hidden remote in every level, and you had, you know, where you collect the gold, instead of coins, it was like golden flies. You collect all 100 of those in each level, and you also get a remote as a reward in each level. And then you had your 3 red remotes, which was the task remotes. But you also have boss remotes. If you get a boss TV or world, it would give you a golden remote. You also got golden remotes for doing bonus levels, which not only gave you an extra man, but you get the golden remote. Now, if you get the golden remote, those are done on timers. You have a certain amount of time to collect all the items. But if you get the so many gold remotes, it opens up the hardest levels in the game. Like, there's 3 of them, depending on how many golden remotes you have. It opens up the hardest level, the 3 hardest levels in the game, which are a pain in the ass. There's one they have one called the Prehistoria world, and it's the hardest, called Lava Dava Do or some shit, and it's just a pain in the ass. It's almost impossible to get through that one. The rest of them are all fairly easy, you know. Just as, like I said, the game mechanics suck. It's harder than hell when it has a lot of jumping. Otherwise, the game's alright. It's fun. It's not bad. I liked it. So, I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Only because of the game mechanics. Otherwise, it'd get 2 thumbs up. Anyways, moving on. I did just get done watching the movie Uncharted. Now, I don't know anything about the games. I do have an older brother who he's really big into the games. And he was telling me the Sully character is actually supposed to be the younger guy. The Sully character is actually supposed to be really old. Like, his 60s or some shit. And the younger guy is actually supposed to be like 29, 30, somewhere around there. So it's kind of weird to see Mark Wahlberg playing Sully because he thought he was playing the 30-year-old, but apparently not. Anyways, I don't know anything about the games. I could care less. I never got into them games. Just like the Tomb Raider series, never got into the Tomb Raider series. I thought they sucked. I didn't care for them. Anyways, the movie was okay for an action flick. It's worth a one-time watch, I guess. But it wasn't really that great. It was alright. The acting was good and all that. It just, the story kind of seemed lame to me. I thought it was a terrible story. It sucked. They should have done something better. Anyways, would I recommend it? Well, I mean, it didn't, I don't know. It didn't really have that much wokeism in it. Maybe a little bit, but not that much. I don't know. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Uncharted, okay for a one-time scene. It wasn't horrible, but really wasn't that great either. Check it out if you're into that. Alright, now let's move on to your B-movie reviews. Alright, Movieholics, this week I had a couple of suggestions from one of my subscribers. This week is Action Week. So, we're going to do a couple of Van Damme movies again this week. He's very prominent in the 80s and 90s as an action star. And the first one we're going to talk about is called Double Impact. And it was done in 1991. It made about $30 million at the box office. Besides Jean-Claude Van Damme, it starred Geoffrey Lewis and Alona Shar. Now, this also had a woman in there. I can't remember her name. She's an Olympian. She was played the bad guy, the bad girl in it. But she's a Olympian champion of bodybuilding or some shit. Now, this also has Bolo Yeung. I think he did 2 or 3 movies where he played the bad guy for Jean-Claude Van Damme. He also played the bad guy in Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon. So, he's fairly well known, Bolo Yeung. I'm not even sure if he's still alive anymore. I didn't bother to look it up. I know he's pretty old. He's in his 80s or some shit. But anyways, he's the main bad guy, or not really the main bad guy, but the main bad guy henchman. in this. The story is that Jean-Claude Van Damme and his brother, twin brother, they're twins, their father and mother are killed by a gangster and a business partner of his father's. They built some tunnel together in Hong Kong, and then after the building was done, they tried to kill the entire family. However, there was a bodyguard played by Geoffrey Lewis who took one of the kids with him, and then there was a maid or some shit, handmaiden, whatever. She took the other kid and dropped it off at an orphanage in Hong Kong, a Catholic orphanage. Miss Shaw, she plays Alex's girlfriend, which is the brother that stayed in Hong Kong. Chad is the brother who went with Geoffrey Lewis and called him uncle all these years. After 24 years, he gets wind that the brother's still alive, and he thinks it's time to go take care of the business guy called Griffith and this guy named Zhang, who's head of the triad. So they go there to Hong Kong, Chad and Geoffrey. They meet up with Alex. They do some of, those two. They figure out what's going on. They hit some of their supply areas where they're doing drugs. They're, bringing drugs into the country. They hit a couple spots. The Zhang and Griffith figure out something's going on. They find out about the twins, and then they try to stop them, but then they kidnap Geoffrey and Miss Shaw, and then the twins go and on this ship. It's on a ship. And they go there and they go ahead and take him out. They eventually kill off both bad guys. One kills off Griffith, the other kills off Zhang. And everybody lives happily ever after, and that's the end of the movie. The story wasn't bad. It wasn't perfect, but it was alright. It wasn't bad. The action wasn't bad either. It was a pretty good action flick. I do find it funny that these guys can never, they have 50 machine guns that always shoot at them, but they never hit the hero. Almost never in these movies. If they do, it's usually just like, a scratch or something on their arm or leg or some shit. I just find that funny. I mean, it's entertaining still, but it's cheesy as fuck because it's unrealistic. But anyways, good movie, not bad. Now, I don't know how about anyone else feels about Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's a good action star, but as far as his acting, like emotional wise, it's not really all that great. But otherwise, he makes a good action flick, even if his acting's not really on par. Like I said, decent movie. Check it out if you want. Not bad for an action flick, especially if you like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now, moving on. The next one is called Desert Heat. Now, it's only called Desert Heat in the UK. Everywhere else, it's called Inferno. I don't know why they changed the name, but they did. This went straight to DVD, so there's no box office numbers, and it was done in 1999. Besides Jean-Claude Van Damme, it had Pat Moriarty in it from Karate Kid, Danny Trejo, who plays his like Indian friend. It also had the beautiful Jamie Presley in it, and Gabriel Fitzpatrick. Now, this one's a little bit different. Even though it's a story that's been done 100 times for action flicks, where you have a drifter come in, two factions like gangs that want to control a certain town or village, depending on the genre, whether it's Western or, you know, medieval or some shit like that. They're fighting over the town, and then the drifter kind of plays both sides against each other until he wipes them out. It's literally the same story. It's been done 100 times. Now, I've never seen this one. I think my subscriber for mentioning it, because I didn't know about it. This one was actually not that bad. Even though, you know, like I said, it's a similar story. Jean-Claude Van Damme kind of plays this military drifter. He kind of wants to end his life. He's just done. He saved the life of Danny Trejo, the Indian friend. And for some reason, he thinks he has to have permission from his Indian friend to end his life and go to the next life. Danny Trejo tells him he's not done here yet. There's still things he needs to do. Well, he ends up getting these two factions to fight it out. And one's kind of like a motorcycle street gang, and then the other is like, they're like, even though you don't see any cattle, it's like a cattle ranch group or whatever, you know. You have Paul, and then you have the three sons that are running it or whatever. Anyways, you don't see anyone else in this town but the actors that I just mentioned, a couple other people. It's like a town out in the middle of nowhere in the desert. But anyways, mainly it's focused on the pawn shop, like a little motel room rental place, and a diner. And anyways, Jean-Claude Van Damme, he turns the two crews on each other, gets them to start fighting. Then they figure out what's going on, and they end up killing his Indian friend, and then he gets revenge upon him and pretty much kills them all, and then saves the town, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. Now, they do have an ending where, you know, to explain it all to the cops, they don't know what happened, and they've just been seeing a lot of UFOs around lately, and these people just disappeared and blah blah blah. And so a bunch of UFO fanatics start coming out. Now, they were trickling in before this, before the gangs ended up killing each other or whatever. He kills them. There was, you know, people, tourists who come out to see things about UFOs or some shit. There was something going on before it. Anyways, that's how they explain everybody disappearing at the end of the movie. This is a good movie. It was decent. Like I said, it's a story that's been done 100 times, but it was still a decent movie. The funniest scene in the movie, there is a really hilarious part I just thought it was hilarious where these two women he supposedly saves from this biker gang or whatever, you know, they decide that they're going to thank him by having sex with him. And I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Anyways, I give it 2 thumbs up. It's a really good movie. Even though, like I said, Jean-Claude Van Damme is not much for an emotional actor. You know, he does play a decent action star. So, check it out if you like that kind of movie, action movie. You'll like it. Let's see. That's all I have for you this week. So, if you have any comments about what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you can think of any underrated movies or television shows that I may never have seen or heard of, please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below. I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you be told the truth, and you just been told.